Alright, guys, welcome back to another episode. This is one of my brothers right here. Multi-talented, many names. Him named John, but we'll call him Trav. Big up to John.
John.
You know what I mean? Man, so proud of you, bro.
Appreciate it.
You here with it, man.
Man, I'm trying.
You trying?
I'm trying.
You're doing something good.
Listen, that's the goal.
Yeah.
I think in life, our goal should be to bring some more good into this world. Because we already know the type of world we live in.
Yeah.
And the more good you find out there, the more blessings you can be to just people in this world. And you just don't know how many smiles you can receive just from just saying something positive to a random person. So my goal is just to be a light in this
in the dark world.
dim world. You know?
Bro, you just took over company. Introduce yourself. If you go to a customer's house, introduce yourself. Like, what would you say?
Well, I generally don't tell people I'm the owner.
Yeah.
At first instance. But my name is John Travis Wilkes. I am the owner of Bergen County. I'm sorry, the owner of Mr. Rooter of Bergen County. I've worked here for about 10 years prior to owning the company, and I definitely worked my way up to be able
10
to...
10 years?
10 years.
Bro, when did we graduate high school? 2012, isn't it?
2012.
And we in 2025.
25.
So that means... you said 12 years or 10 years?
10 years.
10 years.
2 years at a plumbing supply house. I mean, it's a long story.
Sure.
But I guess that's what we're getting into.
Yeah. Wait, you know what? I really admire you, bro. Because you're the only person I know. Like, you've been so consistent with one thing. Like, you know me. I've been jumping from different things.
Trust me. Yeah. But everybody has their rhyme and reason to what they do. You know what I'm saying? And
but why did you stick into it for so long, though? Because we went to tech, right?
Yeah, man.
And then tech is like a school where, like you have what we call like you have like shops or whatever or different like courses.
I guess
whatever.
Different paths you can go down, career paths
Right.
you can.
I
go
did
down.
electronics.
Yeah.
You did plumbing.
Yes.
And then after high school, well, senior year, you started like leaving his senior year to go.
Yes. So they
the
had
post
a program co-op where. Basically, I was able to get a job at a local plumbing supply house.
Yeah.
So instead of my shop time, I would go to work at a plumbing supply house. And after we graduated, I continued to work there for another year and a half.
Why though?
I mean...
Did you like plumbing like that?
It was... I always wanted to be... Once I got into the trades in high school, I always wanted to work for a plumber, be a plumber.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that opportunity was very scarce still because that's when we were going through the 2008 crisis, the financial crisis. We had, and nobody was really looking for new help or apprentice during that time. And my teacher always encouraged us to say, it's gonna turn around. It's gonna turn around.
Yeah.
And when I graduated, I wasn't graced to work for a plumber, but I guess the next best thing was working at a plumbing supply house.
All right, so let's back it up. So, why did you want to become a plumber? Because was there a person in your family that was a tradesman?
No.
Oh, then like.
No, I mean, there was people in my life that were in the construction fields, and culture we come from, a lot of men are multi-talented.
Right, true.
So,
the jack of all trades.
Yeah, jack of all trades. So, my dad, he was more of a accountant type. But his friends were into construction, and others were into farming. They all were different, versatile people, and they've all, did great in life. And they were just... his friends were always like fixing stuff around the house.
And you saw that.
You know, and I was always interested in stuff like that. And if I could be honest, it would have sparked my interest as a child.
As a child, like how young?
Preschool.
Preschool.
Way back, you know, they used to have those building blocks, the big ones.
Oh yeah,
it looks like
yeah,
bricks,
yeah.
and they were different colors, and it would have the brick imprint on it. So it'd be a block, but it would have the brick imprint on it. They have the yellow one, the red one, the blue one, some with different sizes. So I'd use those blocks and make houses. You know what I'm saying? Or I would use the Lincoln logs and make houses. Connects.
Yo, it makes
Legos.
so much sense now.
So from a child, I've been just putting things together and breaking them apart and just seeing how things work and just watching different shows.
So you were like that from way... Cause bro, when we graduated high school, you know, we used to do like a bunch of driving down the road.
Yeah.
Bro, you would just like for example, we had like sound system.
Yeah.
You would just pull a car apart.
Yeah man.
And I'm like, bro, I'm not do that. I'd rather just pay somebody. But like, nah, we can do this. Just put a car apart.
Facts.
Put in your own sound system and all that. You can build your house, building your basement out without even like knowing construction. Like you did all that by yourself.
Yeah, and I guess it was just a series of different things that I've experienced throughout life and putting myself in certain situations and not shying away from things. You know, one of my fondest memories is when I was a young kid, probably like, I don't even know if I was a teen yet, maybe not even preteen, but we had a boiler in our house, very old oil boiler, and it looks like a big, like, cylinder. And it was covered in asbestos. So, you know, we had, you know, the asbestos company come out, take it out, and then took the boiler out. So in the process of that, of course, dust was in the basement, and my mom was like, "Don't go downstairs, don't go downstairs." But I was so interested in knowing how they took this boiler apart and put it back together. And now we have heat again. So it's just like, yo, I want to see.
I
want to see what's going on. So lo and behold, after I came home, I went down there. And of course, my mom came home at the same time.
Where did the truck?
I'm saying, she's like, Travis, me not tell you fit. You know, me not tell you fit. No go down there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess, but like, what do you mean? Why can't I go down there? Like, curious, you know, I was so curious. I didn't know what asbestos was, and you know, as I grew older, and you know, you see all these commercials on TV, mesothelioma, and I'm like, you know, I see why she didn't want me to go down there. But it all comes down to the exposure. You know, you have to really be exposed to these things to really, you know, develop those kind of like illnesses. But you still have to be cautious, because sometimes the smallest thing could cause the biggest problem. You know, you just have to be, you know, precautious on, you know, those things. So, you know, that's like a fond memory of me just trying to explore and see what's going on to figure out, you know, things. And because my mom scolded me, I was just like, damn, I just wanted to know more.
I was going to know more, So, after high school, you did plumbing supply store for how many years?
I guess I was there for 2 years, including the time I was in high school.
Okay.
And then right after that, I started working for...
So how did that transition happen? Did you just apply and then you got it?
So that transition was pretty interesting. I'm sure I can tell you a whole story about that as well. But lo and behold, at the end of my season at Henry's Plumbing Supply, I applied, had an interview with the boss. You know, I applied to Mr. Reuter, had an interview with the boss. It was a great experience. I found out that, you know, he was a God-fearing man, and that piqued my interest that much more.
Even more,
because he wasn't just a random guy that was hiring me. He was a man of God, you know, and he has experience in the church, and, you know, he's worked in the church and things of that nature. So that alone, you know, coming from the background that I came from, being in church as a youth, it really led me to be here. it really led me to just be like, yo, this is the company.
Basically.
You know, and it just led me to say, yo, once I'm here, all I got to do is try the hardest I can to be the best I can be.
The best you can be.
And I applied, you know, some weeks went by, and he's just like, no, he's like, you know, I know you work for the plumbing supply house that we locally go to a lot, and, you know, I'd be taking a guy from him, so I just got to speak to him to make sure that that's okay.
Yeah.
And he did, and at the time, I didn't know any better, but, you know, unfortunately I came into work one day close to the time where I think I was going to start this new job, and I was, they let me go.
For what?
Right, so all this time I've been thinking that they let me go because, I don't know, because I was looking for a job elsewhere. But, you know, I would really want to finish off on good terms and whatnot. So for the longest while, I always thought that I was let go because I found another job. But from there, you know, I was let go. I had 2 weeks where I was free from work. So I enjoyed those 2 weeks. I spent time with family, you know, and I didn't really sulk.
So did you hit up Mr. Reuter? Say, yo, they let me go. I'm good.
So hear me out. Hear me out. So I didn't hear anything from them. I did not hit them up. All right. So in those 2 weeks, I was just like, you know what? Let's see what happens. But again, you know, I was a kid. I just started working. You know, to me, work was like, oh my God, you know, I want a day off. Not even working yet. You barely even know what work is, and you're talking about, oh, I want a day off. And I was just chilling. I was just visiting family, and as I said, and then a weekend came. In the very beginning of the year. It had to have been the second day of the year. January 2nd. It had to have been.
Dang, that early, huh?
I think so. Or January 4th. You know? I keep a calendar in here because it has that
that date
on it when I started. I think it's so weird. No way, bro. That it's a calendar that's that old. And
from 10 years ago, wow.
Yeah, from 10 years ago, bro. But it has January 14th's calendar on it. So when I got into this office, the January 14th calendar was in here, and I was like, that's dope. But I know that my start date was January 4th.
Gotcha.
And
that's how you know it was important to you, because you remember the day, bro.
Yo, I remember. I can't forget.
Yo, that's crazy.
The Friday before the Saturday, because they do nights and weekends. The Friday before the Saturday, I get a call from one of the workers, like, "Hey, I know you're in the process of being hired. Do you think you can work this Saturday?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was I was like, "What? Yeah. You thought I was gonna say no?" I said yes instantly, and honestly, it was the busiest Saturday I ever worked in my life. To this point, and
what?
Yeah, it was one of the busiest. It was one of the busiest. Saturdays.
What did they have you doing as a new guy?
I wasn't doing anything. I was helping. I was assisting.
It was assisting.
You know what I'm saying?
Get me this, get me that.
Yeah, yeah. So.
And through tech, did you know a lot of the stuff that they were asking for?
No.
What did tech
just
teach?
the only thing I could say, because it was drainage. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing I could say I knew was plumbing stuff, like. Fittings. Yeah. I was real good with fittings, especially working at the plumbing supply house. Yeah. I got good on fittings. Yeah. All those things, how to name them. Yeah. You know, what's the right way to name them, things of that nature. Different types of materials. Yeah. But no, regardless of the fact, when you're actually in the field and someone's asking you for something and you've never seen it, in real life, and there's so many different versions. It's just like, you know. I hope I get the right thing, but
and you know construction,
right?
They get
I was pretty good. I was pretty good at, you know, some of the stuff already because of that. But it was still a new world. I've never worked in the cold before. You're talking about the dead of winter. If you think about this year, it was probably as cold as this year back in 2014. Like it hasn't been this cold since that year.
Dang, son.
You know what I'm saying? In my personal opinion.
Dang.
It hasn't been that cold since this year, and to me it's monumental because it was from there it was just like I was in it. You know, the next Monday, first, and secondly, that was the first 24-hour period I worked back to back. You know what I'm saying? So I worked 12 hours that day and 12 hours the next day.
It's so funny, like Generation Now, they probably like they worked that hard the first day. It's like, yo, I ain't going back, bro. Like they trying to kill me.
I'm even gonna hold you. I had that experience recently.
Really?
Yeah. It was like, we had this guy and he came in.
Like a new hire, and then
he was on an intense job all day with this guy, and he didn't come back.
They even talking about lunch. Like, what is that talking about?
Yeah, it was interesting. He even signed up to go to the Christmas party.
What?
Never showed back up. God is my witness.
That's crazy.
But listen, this is a tough job.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do. You got to be willing to put in the work to get to where anybody gets to in this field.
Yeah.
Not just me, just anyone. Like, you really have to work hard towards it.
Facts.
There's a lot to learn. And I'm still learning. There's so much to learn.
Someone once told me like the journey, like when you stop learning or growing, that's when you basically die. Like,
right.
You continue learning,
Right.
So why didn't you take like the college route, because back then everybody used to push college and stuff like that.
So that is an interesting question because I actually did start going to college. So I was during my time working at Henry's.
Henry's, okay.
I was in college for a year and a half. So I
Doing
did
what,
a semester and a half. Basically, the first semester was figuring out what I want to major in. So I first majored in engineering. It wasn't what I thought it was, and I wasn't really a science guy. And it was math is a lot of science.
A lot of science, yeah.
But it really wasn't like what I was interested in. So the next thing that I noticed was a major was architecture.
Okay.
So architecture was like my go-to. So I was in architecture school for a year at Bergen County Tech.
Okay.
Bergen County Community College.
Gotcha.
And honestly, it's helped me a lot in my career today. And if I was to do anything else other than plumbing, it would have been that. And in my earlier years of doing that, we did a lot of hand drawings, which helped me do schematics today.
Yeah. The riser diagram.
The riser diagrams.
Yeah, you were a beast with that too.
Thank you. Things of that nature. It was great. If I could be honest, I would definitely love to go back to college and see if I can accomplish that and put that under my belt as well.
Yeah. So when this company starts to kind of, because you just transitioned into
correct
being the owner now, so when it starts to systemize and more we don't have to be so hands on, would you go back and get it?
For sure. I'd definitely make that a priority because I'd be able to break it up and actually still be in the office, and go to school at the same time. Yeah. Make it a priority to go to school, stay in the office, whatever jobs need to be done at that time. If I have to be more hands-on with it,
you can
schedule it in,
be
flexible. But definitely that my ultimate goal would be to accomplish that as well.
So 10 years you've been working for this company.
Yes.
And then you just transitioned into being what made that shift to okay, I want to own the company now instead of just working in the company? Because you can make plumbers make mad money, bro. I'm sure you were doing well, just being and you're the main tech, right?
During the ending of my journey, I became the lead tech. Yeah.
Lead tech.
Before that, there were 2 lead techs, that I got a lot of training from, and also the boss, Steve Pikett.
Right.
This gentleman, Steve Pikett, that was the owner. Gumby, we used to call him Gumby, and Stevie Ray. And all 3 of those gentlemen were a part of my learning process. And everything that I know and have grown upon, the things that I know.
Yeah.
They're the reason why I am where I am, in my career today because of the things that they taught me and opened up to me about,
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them for real.
Yeah,
Wherever you guys are. Because if it wasn't for you guys, and on top of it, there was a lot of other people. I don't want to, not mention them, but of course, my previous boss, Henry Lombardi.
Okay.
Owns Henry's Plumbing Supply.
Yeah.
And
he's not there anymore, right?
He is. And my
yeah.
plumbing teacher, wherever you are, I've been trying to look for you. Donald Gennari.
Wait, from Tech?
From Tech. I've been trying to find him, but...
Bro, he'd be proud of you, dog.
Yeah. But he's actually the guy who got me the interview at Henry's.
At Henry's.
Yes, because that was the local supply house he went to when he was a plumber.
When he was a plumber.
Before he became a teacher.
I wonder if we can reach out to somebody at Tech just to find where you're at.
I would definitely have to see. I've gotten his number. I've contacted him. And he personally gave us his number when we left Tech.
Yeah.
But he always said he was hard to reach. He doesn't answer his phone for any random number.
You text him?
Yeah, man. I have. I even spoke to one of his last students before he retired, and he gave me his number again.
Same number?
Same number.
Where he live at, bro?
Total.
Bro, we can find him. We can pull up
on him. Trust me, I've looked up his address and everything, even his house number, but, I'm not like an investigator type, so...
Yeah.
I try, but I don't try too hard.
Well, you could tell, like, that's how important he was to you, like, being here.
Yeah, of course, because he's actually the guy who made me decide on plumbing.
Like,
because
full time,
in Tech, you go through 5 different trade classes: electrical, construction, I should say carpentry, welding, HVAC, and plumbing.
Bro, I never knew that. I should have did that.
Yeah, so you go to all 3 of those levels of trades. Yeah. And then at the end of the year, or I should say at the end of the shop period, one. You have to pick one.
Oh.
Your top one and the second one if you can't get into the top one.
Gotcha.
And, I had 2 teachers talk to me. The HVAC teacher, he talked to me about, coming to his shop.
Yeah.
And then the plumbing teacher, he talked about me. He talked to me about just the plumbing trade in general. And he said to me, one thing about plumbing is it's very versatile. You know what I'm saying? And that's because in the other trades, you're only doing one thing. If you're an electrician, you're only doing that. If you're a carpenter, you're only doing that. If you're a welder, you're only doing that. If you're doing HVAC, you're only doing that. But in plumbing, you get your hands in everything. For example, you change a dishwasher. It's minor electrical, but you're doing some electrical. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're trying to pipe something in a cabinet.
Yeah, hot water thing.
Hot water heater.
Yeah, we had
kind
that
of
discussion.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're doing work in a cabinet. Well, you got to be nifty. You got to cut things in the cabinet. And to be honest, if you want it to look real good,
can't do big old holes.
Can't do a big hole.
You gotta be precise.
You know what I'm saying? You have to be precise.
You know what I'm saying? Yep.
Carpentry.
Yep.
When you're putting pipes together, you're welding them together.
That's very true.
It's still, the process is still called welding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're putting it in a boiler.
Like that, yeah.
You put it in a boiler. Well, really and truly, that's HVAC. You're heating a home. It's heating. But a plumber has to be available to put the backflow preventer on.
Yeah.
So why is the plumber not doing the whole job?
That's very true.
You know what I'm saying? So it was versatile in that way. You could really learn everything about every other trade in one trade.
That job I was telling you about the radiant heat.
Yes.
The homeowner, they said they have an HVAC guy and he can do the radiant heat, but it's like, I can't put in the boiler though. So you gotta get a plumber to do that.
Right.
Yeah, but a plumber can do the radiant heat and the boiler.
Correct.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the boiler needs gas.
Who gotta run the pipe?
Who gotta run the gas pipe?
Just like 28 Day, like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then there's other little things. For example, that job you're talking about, running the flue vent through the pipe, flashing the roof.
Flashing the roof. The plumber gotta do that.
Plumber has to, be able to do that.
Yeah.
If you want to be called a plumber, you really have to be able to do all these little odds and ends around finishing what you started.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, hey, some people may say something different, but I think personally, if you want to say, yo, I'm a plumber,
Yeah.
well, you should be able to do these things to a T.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And that all comes down to proper training. If you don't know something, you got to look it up, but sometimes looking things up don't also tell you the real world aspects of what happens. Like, what you do in a book is different from what happens in the actual real field. You know what I'm saying? So those two aspects work hand in hand, but they do not work separately.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So it's good to know how to do certain things, but it's good to know why you're doing certain things.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So give advice for someone who's just starting out and they're being taught by someone. How can you identify that person is teaching them the right thing? Because you know people, they try to teach them that the shortcut of things or not the proper way. You know, like it's like, for example, you're talking about the carpentry of installing a vanity. Instead of cutting one big hole to fit the waistline and the hot and cold water to make 3 individual holes and fit
Correct.
it right. You know, like how can you, like, I guess, how can someone who's starting out can see if they're being taught right and properly? Because you need that coach.
I feel like there's 2 things. It's more of a knowing factor of saying, hey, this looks wrong, but if it works, it works. But on top of that, it's the customer satisfaction. So if you're not going back to the same customers, well, that's concerning. And if you saw that something looked a little shaky and you're not going back to that person, or you hear a complaint or something of that sort, then, you know, there could be, you know, something wrong, or, you know, a process could be, you know, left out of the whole complete project that makes it incomplete. And don't get me wrong, sometimes we do miss things. Sometimes you're in a tough situation. You know, sometimes, again, you're doing a service repair, and that's just the solution to the problem. But when you're doing finished work, you know, that's the difference. So you have 2 sides of it. You know, you have the finished work when you're roughing in a house or you're installing something fresh or brand new. You want to make sure that's whatever is around that fresh or brand new appliance that you put in, it's good. It's piped properly. You know, but on top of that, you could be doing a repair. If something's existing and you're doing a repair, and for example, you have to make a hole, well, you have to make a hole to make that repair. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have been covered up prior. You know, but when you do things like that, of course, you know, I guess you would say you want to make a proper hole. Make a square. Make it neat. So whoever comes in next, just, you know, fix that hole, they can patch it properly.
Bro, I'm tired of some of these plumbers, bro.
So, you know, you don't want to just use a hammer and start opening the wall. You want to cut a square. You want to make it look like... It's not even making it look like anything. You're a professional. You're in a professional service. Work professionally.
Very demure.
You know? Very cutesy. Very mindful. So you just want to, you know, you want to keep those things in mind for sure. Everything matters. You know, you want to say, if this was my house, what would I want?
You know what I don't like, bro? I don't like when sometimes, I don't like at all when people say, it looks good from my house. You know what I mean? Like, bro, your house way over there, bro. Like, it's supposed to look good right here. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably one of the trades that they say what I don't, like, typically agree with. Yeah. What do you think?
You know what? Let's take my house out of it. It's more of what you would want. For
what you want.
It's more of what you want for your house. And I think working in the trades, you understand that sometimes you work yourself dry. You don't allot proper time to yourself. And I think that's something that I'm starting to really
get right now.
Hone in on, I should say, for myself, and not only for myself, but to encourage my guys and people around me to say, hey, realize all the work that you do, and take some time out and say, yo, I need some time to myself. Let me regroup and get myself back together, because at the end of the day, we are problem solvers
Facts.
for whoever out there is depending on us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we cannot get ourselves together and have our ducks in a row and solve our problems, how can we solve other people's problems? And if we are doing that, at some point, you're going to be stretched thin.
Well said.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's very important for us to be mindful of how we treat ourselves at the end of the day of, you know, doing all these things. You know, especially in the trades, you know, you're outside helping people put their dreams together.
Period. Don't
forget about your dreams.
Facts.
You know?
Facts.
And I think that's very important.
Made me thinking about my life now. Talking about your guys though, how was that feeling or transition when you became the owner to then? Because a lot of guys like you worked with for the majority of your time here.
Yeah, and some of them are family, and even I went to plumbing school with.
Yeah, exactly. So how was that transition? You know, you being the boss, then like a co-worker. You know what I mean?
I'll say the transition is still interesting. I think it could be me accepting my role and doing what I need to do to make sure that they're good.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I would say the transition was smooth, but still interesting because...
Why you say interesting?
I'm working with just so many different people. We have 9 people here.
Your staff is 9 people.
9 people, yeah.
Like me being in business now, I think about your overhead crazy.
Yo, it's God is my witness. God is my provider in everything that I do, and He makes everything possible.
Period.
To this day. I swear, I don't know what I'll do without Him.
Yo,
like I just got chills saying that because it was just like, yo, honestly, I don't know what I would do because I just do what I need to do and say, God, you make a way.
Provide, yeah.
You make a way, and all I can do is what I'm doing, and He makes the way.
Yeah, man, faith
He
without
makes
works is dead, right?
Yo, faith without works is definitely dead.
For real.
You know, so if you're not out there doing what you feel like you need to be doing to make your way, well then that's why that way hasn't been made. So really think about that and keep that in mind.
Yeah.
That if we're not out there doing what we're destined to do, and we're holding back on that, you know, then we'll never be fulfilled in life. You know, life is hard.
Yeah.
You know, life is challenging. We have so many downs and we have so many ups. But we all know those downs hurt us more than the ups because they're that much tougher. And you may have more ups than downs, but when those downs come,
those downs hurt, man.
Those downs hurt.
Just gotta keep going.
So you definitely gotta keep God in mind. You can just put it down. You definitely gotta keep God in mind whenever you're doing these things, and also remember that. Faith without works is dead, and to have faith is hard. Yeah. But it's something that can be done. You know?
I struggle with that sometimes, bro. That faith part, I feel like I be working, and then it's like, yo, God, like I need you to show up right now, my boy. It's like.
But let me ask you this question: does He show up?
I'm still here, so He definitely shows up.
So that's how much. How much more faith do you need?
That's true. That's true.
How much more faith do you need?
That's true.
You know, He is providing for you every day.
Facts, yo.
As tough as life may be, it could be harder.
It
could be harder.
Could be homeless.
But it's not.
Could be on the street. Facts.
You're just faced with things that you're dealing with.
And because we're not familiar with it. And because I'm thinking of, man, you gotta be all right. Because I'm thinking about it with my own eyes and my own lens, and not having that. God isn't God working, and because I don't know everything,
and that's what
I'm panicking. Like, bro,
that's all it is.
You got a source, you know. Right? Just do what you gotta do and let it be.
You gotta remember that God's timing is perfect timing. We don't know time.
Facts.
We don't know time, so. God's timing is perfect. As much as you see this calendar, if God say it's gonna happen this day, and it's this day, and you ain't make it to this day yet, Well, just trust and believe that God is already
working.
He's already working.
Yeah, yes, sir.
We just gotta make it to that day.
Facts.
We just gotta make it to that day, bruh.
Hold that faith and keep pushing. Hold your head up and keep pushing.
God is amazing.
Thanks, bro.
God is amazing.
How has God been like? I mean, it sounds like God has been a key component of your life. So like, how do you keep him, like, I guess, in front or ahead, and then do you kind of push that on your team? Or not really push, but like, are you vulnerable with that with your team too as well?
I would say I can be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
If I am 100% of the time, I wouldn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we live in a world where everyone has their faith, and you don't want to push too much things on anyone.
True.
But what I could say is, if it is to be let known, I'm not scared to let it be known that God is the one who made this possible.
Mm-hmm.
I would say through it all,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, the only way I could say this is, one of my guys mentioned to me last night,
Mm-hmm.
I pulled up and a gospel song was playing.
Mm-hmm. You were playing it, or he was playing it?
I was playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was blasting, because I love music, so
Mm-hmm.
my music always blasting.
Mm-hmm.
You already know.
Sound system, yeah. You gonna put sound system in that joint?
Come on. It's a work truck. It's good enough. Not when the windows are down, though.
Yeah.
And that's when it really matters.
Yeah.
But I pulled up playing the music, and he was like, "Oh, you still on that?"
Mm-hmm.
And not in a not in a bad way.
Yeah.
He was just like, "Yo, I was at the plumbing supply house, and one of the guys pulled up with their phone
Mm-hmm.
playing, and it was playing gospel music. It just reminded me of them."
Oh, them. Oh, okay.
And
okay.
he goes to say to his other team member,
Mm-hmm.
John been playing that since high school. He always blasting that kind of music.
Yeah,
I just didn't know he still did it. I was like, yeah, once in a while I tune in for sure.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I remember one time I picked up your headphones, and I was like, let me see what John listens to.
Was that
and
Wes?
It was Wes. And he was like, it was gospel music, and he was like, so I said to him, you wasn't expecting that, right?
Yeah.
He was like, nah, I wasn't. But nah, that's always been you, and that has always been me, and God's one thing that's never left my side. And I know at one point in my life, I felt like he let me down, but he didn't let me down. People let me down. You know what I'm saying? And God was always there for me. You know what I'm saying? Through thick and thin. And I always said to myself, once I left the church scene, I just call it that.
Yeah.
And I stepped down from my position.
What position?
I was, I wouldn't even know what my position was, but I did everything. I was on the praise dance team. I was on the praise and worship team. I was my pastor's armor bearer. I used to drive the church bus. As soon as I got my license, I was driving the church bus to events. I was in.
You were that guy.
I was in national things. I was in, performing in, they had this event called Winterfest. As a state, we performed in Winterfest. We did one day we did a praise and worship set.
And we did the mime thing too.
Did the miming. We did singing. We had competitions. We went to Tennessee for competitions. We would travel up and down the state, going to different churches.
Hey Jamie, you ever knew this about Tribe?
We just did everything. It was just like a real nice journey. I loved it. I did everything wholeheartedly. I could say that. And I was really enjoying it. And I was just telling someone, I was about to go to, school to become a bishop. Like, that's where I was at on my journey.
Theology?
Theology school, yeah. So that's where I was at on my journey. You know what I'm saying? As much as I wanted to do construction, and I'm sure I would have did it, that was always one thing that was...
You'd probably be a preacher plumber.
You never know. I'm still living.
You're still living. Yeah,
still living. So
back,
anything is possible in the realm of possibilities,
Yeah.
as long as we can make it possible.
So, I don't know if you want to jump into it or not, but like, what happened made you kind of deter from church a little bit?
You know, at that time, I didn't understand, but as I grow older, I understand more and more why. But it really comes down to, in this world, and this is my personal opinion, so don't shoot me down. In this world, you have church, and then you have the world. And in church, you're told not to be of the world.
The world, yeah.
But in church, the people in the church are of the world. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, worldly things can still happen
in
the church.
Yeah. Well said.
And I came to, I guess, an epiphany or whatever it may be at some point in my life that even though I'm away from church, the amount of things that I learned along my journey, I personally feel can sustain me in my journey with Christ and God, and keep me level-headed to know that God is in control. You know, I guess I'm at a point where I solely believe and trust in God, and the only thing that I need to improve on is reading His word, and trusting and believing in everything that He says in His word. And as I do that, more and more I see that His word is true.
Word is true.
You know what I'm saying? And because you have the church and you have the world and you have the people that are in church that are of the world, there are things that still trickle down outside of the church into the world.
Yeah.
So as much as the church is the church and the world is the world, well, there is the world in the church and there's a church in the world.
Okay.
All right? So no matter how much you see people don't go to church, there's still people in the church.
They say
in their own church.
Right. But they say the church is not the physical building.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct. So people make it the physical building.
Right.
People make things what they are.
Right.
But God is everywhere.
Right.
God is not only in those four walls. God is everywhere. So
2 or 3 is gathered. He's with us.
That's all. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So in this room right now, we could have church.
Hey, we got a singer over there.
I'm saying.
Hey, mama. So would you, if you would have gone back, would you left the church, or would you reacted differently? If knowing what you know now,
knowing what I know now,
would you have reacted differently?
Would I have reacted differently?
Or would you have left, or would you?
I think I would still had left.
Okay.
Because of my morals and my beliefs. And I think if there is a place that can cover up things, I don't want to be in that place.
Gotcha.
And as much as we are who we are to ourselves, and there's probably many different things about us that no one knows. When it is known, it's harder to fathom. So I'd rather dismiss myself than feeling like I'm living a lie.
Gotcha. I hear that.
And I guess I think part of the reason why I haven't found a church to go back to is maybe of a fear of finding that elsewhere and knowing that God is still with me. So why do I have to necessarily say I am a part of a specific church when I already know I'm a part of a specific church? I just
right.
distance myself.
But the connection, I guess, you want to fellowship with others and all that type of stuff.
Yes, That's very true. It's definitely a place to fellowship with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's good to visit a lot of different churches, because then you could spread your belief not only between your four walls of the church you go to every Sunday, Saturday, whatever day you go, but you could spread whatever you learn from that church into another church, and you just might not know how you could shed some different kind of light in someone's life by just one question or just one answer. You know, so I think once you get to a certain point, I think traveling is good.
Yeah, I'm working at a
customer's. And even if that means, for example, like how you invited me to your church.
Oh yeah.
Supporting other people in their church. You know what I'm saying? Dismissing yourself. There's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, I'm missing this Sunday to attend a different church."
Nothing wrong with that.
And then if you let your body know, they may just announce it in church that day and say, "Hey, we're missing Brother Virgin and Sister Virgin this week because they were invited to another church and they are attending another church. God bless them and go with them wherever they go. And shine a light upon them."
Facts.
You know? And that's how I feel, like I think. You know what I'm saying? Because we should be able to shine a light anywhere we go.
Facts.
If we are true believers, if we are true men and true women of God, we can shine that light anywhere we go, no matter where we go. We could be going to the deepest depths of wherever we go. And you can still be a light in someone's darkness. You just never know who you can be to someone. Yeah.
I'm working at a customer's house now, and they are Christian, right? And before we start every day, we show up like 7:45, 8 o'clock, and then before we even start, before we lift up a hammer or anything like that, like they have to they say, "Hey, okay, come on, we're gonna say a prayer just to the Lord," and every day, and at first I was like, "Oh, okay, cool," but then after the second and third time, I was like, "I'm trying to get to work here. I got a mission to get to," you know what I mean? But it kind of convicted me. It's like, yo, why would you not pray before starting the job? No, not starting the job site or just allow God's presence to just come in and just help you throughout the day. It makes me started thinking maybe I should do that, because I never thought about before I start a job, just say a quick prayer just to have God help me with the job. I mean, He's always there helping me, but just to have it open, you know.
You know, that is a good thought. You know, that's definitely something good to really think deep about. And one thing I can say in reflection to that is, you know, every year the Mr. Rooter franchise has a reunion, and I don't know if that's a secret or not. But anyways, story was. I met this guy, a franchisee from Canada, and he says,
"Oh, they got all the way in Canada?"
Yeah, he says every morning, you know, they do a morning huddle and they say a prayer before they go out.
The team?
And yeah,
that's lit.
And quote me if I'm wrong. It could be every morning or every time they have a meeting, which is every week. But I think it's every morning. And I was like, that's pretty dope. And, you know, being the guy I am, you know, I try to think about everybody. I don't want to just make it be a me thing.
Me thing, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, that's actually pretty dope. Like, that's dope. Yeah. Like, I like that, you know? And I think it's a culture that you can build.
Yeah.
I think it's a culture that you can build because...
it is, bro. Because, like today, you know Eric, he because normally she lets me pray, and then she prays, or she or the husband prays. But then today, Eric said he wanted to say a prayer.
And you see how that works.
I'm like, what?
So,
Eric, go ahead, what?
You know, when you are real and true about something, people see it. And people feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's a feeling. You know, it's something that you can really feel.
So, I guess this is building that culture, you know, like building that
yeah,
right
and
culture within the
I can attest that, you know, if someone builds that culture and as a leader, you commit to it, it makes a big difference. So, for example, we have a code of values that we live by in the franchise, right? And they
What are
say
those
every,
values?
huh?
What are those values?
They say it's those values are to live rich.
To live rich.
Yeah, I have it right on the back of my iPad. Those values are to live rich, you know, and what living rich is, it's living with respect, that's the R, living with integrity, that's the I, living with customer focus, that's the C, and having fun in the process, that's the H. And every Wednesday when we have a meeting, we go over those code of values. And in the 10 years that I've been here, I never did that. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing that we ever did.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Probably even, I'm not calling nobody out. Never did. Whatever. More of the story is, I definitely get why he didn't do it. That it was never done. Because naturally speaking, his demeanor, who he was, he naturally just lived by that. His demeanor, the way he customer focused, his energy was like that.
Yeah, because a couple times,
so
like I felt that when I before you owned the company years back, like when I come, it's like, yo, what's up, man? You trying for Oh, cool. Like he's just not open and then like a big old bear.
I'm telling you, he's the greatest. But we automatically lived by it. We automatically lived by it.
Like that was the culture of the company.
But that was the culture of the company. So I said to myself, well, yeah, we should say it. You know, why not let it be known? Let's make the guys notice. So ever since I took over, every time we have a Wednesday meeting, we say our code of values, and we all go around and say it. And in depth, there's deeper things behind that living rich that we say, but we all get a chance to say it. So we go around the room until the whole thing is read, and we read it. So hopefully we get
there's more than...
Yeah, there's more than that.
Okay,
so hopefully we get to a point where it's a select... someone's selected for that day. Or a few people are selected for that day to go through it. Be like, all right, well, these 10 people are selected to say the code of values this Wednesday. And next week it'll be a next group. And next week it'll be a next group. Bro, or even in a way where we're at different franchises saying it together, having our Wednesday meeting. You know what I'm saying? So
bro, I picture you not even being here and like, yo, we gotta say the values, bro. Come huddle up real quick.
Facts. So
you know what I mean?
Listen, the world.
Yeah, I'm sure the guys get pumped up just by reading that joint.
Yeah, listen, it's all about the energy you bring.
Live rich, bro. What?
It's all about.
Here we go. Is everybody?
Yeah, man. Third
back again.
Yeah, man. So battery died. So
battery dead.
Rewind.
Battery charged like lottery.
Yeah, Z.
All right.
So what topic were we on?
So we were talking about the code of values and just as you know, a leader, you have to live, you know, according to those values. Say those values are. So you know, you just got to be that light. Yeah. For those around us and all those things.
So like in my mind, I know we gotta wrap up, but like I thought something that came in my mind is like I mean, like you have to like evolve or improve yourself so much just to be ahead of the team, just to lead them.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But you know what? It's funny that God puts you through things that, you know, kind of get you prepared for what you gotta.
For the next
season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He put you through things that are not aligned with anything. With what you think it should be aligned with.
Yeah.
But you know, I knew for some reason though that I'm like, this is gonna be good for something in the future.
Yeah.
You know, and it's this, you know. So there's a lot of things that I'm trying my best to improve. But as humans, we get stuck in, you know, certain things. But you just have to, as my mom would say, break up your folly ground. All right.
Yeah.
And just change what you do.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? But not what you say. You know what I'm saying? Stick to what you say and do what you say. You know what I'm saying? And live by it. And that will trickle down. It's a trickle down effect.
All right, we're gonna wrap up. I got 3 questions for you.
All right.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
First question. What is your vision as a new owner, new leader, a new mentor for the mentees coming up? What is your vision for the company going forward?
I guess my vision is to create a group of guys or people. I shouldn't say guys, people, because we have women that work here as well.
Yeah. We had a girl on our team too.
Yeah?
Yeah. But go ahead with your. Yeah.
Just let them know that. It's time to go. Are we still recording?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Basically, to create a team that builds on itself. So basically, take people in that possibly feel like, they're at their wits' end, and not even that. People that are saying, "Well, I don't even know where to go," and create an atmosphere where they are comfortable and can grow develop some kind of skill to say that, to make them feel like, or develop some type of feeling to make them feel like they're not alone, and this job is not just a job, but is a community of people that are trying to build something together. And of course, this may mean that this is just a stepping stone in their life. You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean that they may not be here forever, but at least it could be a journey for them to say that, hey, I learned something along the way, and I've grown since this, or I've developed this skill, or you never know. Bless you. You never know where that can go, and what that means for them. It may even mean they grow here. You know what I'm saying? But it's not a limited thing. I don't want people to feel limited to this, but I want them to feel like they can actually grow, whether that means financially, mentally, physically, whatever it may be. Yeah. Just a growth. And with that, I feel like, we'll grow a community of tradesmen tradeswomen, office staff, whatever it may be. Just grow people to
be
develop
the better version
of themselves. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. That's lit. All right, next question. What's up, by the way? Next question. What is your advice for someone who is interested in plumbing but not too sure if they want to go deep into it as yet? Someone who was like you, like what the high school teacher did for you. Someone in that position. What would you say to them?
I'll personally say that regardless of who you are, how you grew up, or what you feel, trying something new is never easy, and it's never a bad thing. So what I would say is, if someone is wanting or trying to be a plumber or a tradesman, whatever it may be, put your whole heart into it when you do it. And if you're not feeling it, well then that may not be the pathway for you to go down. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's tough, but you're feeling it, don't give up the fight. You know what I'm saying? Because so many times we fall short and we're right next to the finish line.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Because we're too hard on ourselves. There's
Yeah.
nothing easy that's in this world.
Yeah.
But whatever is not easy is definitely worth it in the end.
I like what you said. There's 2 things that stuck out. What you said is like, give it your all. Like in anything, just give it your all. And I was actually listening to something today where it says like, if it's easy in the beginning, it will be hard at the end. Or if it's hard at the beginning, it's gonna be way easier at the end.
Right.
So pick your poison, right?
You definitely have to pick your poison. And I'll tell you, the journey I went on to be where I am, you've seen it, you've witnessed it. Many nights where I'm coming in and I'm meeting you guys already 3 hours in.
3 hours in
to the journey, you know what I'm saying? The event. But you know, at the end of the day, I still enjoyed myself with you guys, and
Facts.
you know, even though the work was hard and the nights were long, you know, definitely deemed to be worth it.
Yeah, bro. Sometimes you just pull up with the work.
Yeah, don't tell them that.
Yeah.
I never did that.
Last question. What I'm trying to create something where you leave a question for the next person that interview. So what question would you ask that? Or what question would you ask that person? Could be anything. Could be personal, could be business related, could be anything.
What question would I ask? I guess what has been the biggest stumbling block that made you say or made you feel like, dang, am I doing the right thing? Am I going in the right direction? Like, what do you think that is? You know, and I feel like those things are the things that really shake us up.
Yeah.
To be like, yo, is this really what I want to do? Those are the things that really shake you up to be like, yo, is this really worth it? Like, am I really doing the right thing? You know, and usually those are the things that should keep you going, because that's just the devil trying to talk in your ears.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing too hard for you to do that God puts in front of you.
Facts.
You know, and if you're getting the opportunity, you know, take the opportunity and run with it.
Facts.
You know, and that's what I got, an opportunity, and I ran with it.
You ran with it.
You know, I saw that this company was well dressed, well versed, and something I wanted to be a part of, and here I am today. So.
Look, bro. My boy, love you, man. Proud of you, dog.
You're done, man. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for tuning in.